Hi, I'm Mike Tenney, host of Pop Culture Catechism, and this is Awaken the Word, a reading from the book of Exodus. They had journeyed from Rephidim, entered the wilderness of Sinai, and camped in the wilderness. Israel camped there in front of the mountain. Then Moses went up to God. The Lord called to him from the mountain, saying, "Thus you shall say to the house of Jacob and tell the Israelites, you have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now, therefore, if you obey my voice and keep my covenant, you shall be my treasured possession out of all the peoples. Indeed, the whole earth is mine, but you shall be for me a priestly kingdom and a holy nation. These are the words that you shall speak to the Israelites." This is a really beautiful passage for me because these people that God is speaking to, the Israelites here, they've just been freed from slavery. They've been enslaved for hundreds of years in a land that is not their own. And this guy Moses seemingly comes out of nowhere and is throwing plagues on the Egyptians. And then they are able to escape. They do this weird Passover thing with the lamb on the blood on the door. And they're running out into the desert. And then, oh my gosh, Pharaoh's charging after us with his army. And now this guy's leading us through the Red Sea. Oh my gosh, it's parting. Oh my gosh, they just drowned the Egyptians. Like, they've seen some crazy stuff. And then they end up at this mountain. And what are God's first words to them? "You are my beloved people. I'm forming this everlasting covenant with you, a family bond where I will be your God and you will be my people, a holy nation, a priestly kingdom." In Christians, we now see this not as applied to us. Now through Jesus in the new covenant, we now, all of humanity, just as Jesus says, indeed, or just as God says here, "Indeed, the whole world is mine, but you are my special people." Now that applies to Christians and anyone. It's open to anyone. The whole world is God's, but if we respond to his call to faith, now we are part of that priestly kingdom, holy nation. And if you pay attention during the Mass, during the Eucharistic prayers, it speaks these words about us, that we as Christians who worship God are his priestly kingdom, a holy nation. And so I think a lot of times we forget that me in the everyday, even if I'm not involved in some ministry, if I'm not doing professional ministry work, if I'm not a priest or sister or brother in religious life, or I'm not volunteering at the church, I'm not the religious ed teacher or the youth minister, it's easy to forget that we too are a priestly kingdom in a holy nation. Just raising your kids, being a good boyfriend or girlfriend, being a good student, being a good grandma or grandpa, being a good neighbor. All of those are ways that we can be a priestly kingdom and a holy nation. I've been Mike Tenney. This has been Awaken the Word.
Thank you for tuning in to Awaken the Word.